The cafeteria was roaring with laughter that afternoon. The kind of laughter that didn't come from jokes, but from cruelty. The sound echoed against the pale yellow walls of Crestwood High, mixing with the clatter of trays and the dull hum of conversation. In the center of it all stood a trembling girl, small, quiet, and clearly out of place. Her name was Sienna Park, a 16-year-old transfer student who had just joined a week ago. Her clothes were plain, her sneakers old, and her accent just a little different from the rest. But it wasn't her simplicity that caught attention, it was her silence. And silence to people like Travis and his crew was the perfect target. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of standing up for what's right, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Always Kind. Let's remind the world that strength doesn't always shout. It sometimes stands quietly until it's forced to rise. That day, Sienna had been sitting alone, her lunch untouched, her eyes fixed on a small notebook filled with sketches. She loved to draw. It was her escape from the noise, from memories she didn't want to relive. But Travis, the self-proclaimed king of the school, had different plans. He strutted across the cafeteria with his two shadows, Dylan and Maddie. They whispered and laughed as they pointed towards Sienna's table. Travis grabbed her notebook, flipping through the pages before smirking. "What's this? Fairy tales? Oh, look, she drew herself as some kind of hero." His voice carried through the cafeteria, and the laughter rose. Sienna didn't speak. She just looked down, her fingers curling under the edge of her tray. When she tried to grab the notebook back, Travis shoved her lightly. "Relax, it's just a joke," he said. But when she didn't smile, he grew meaner. "What, you don't like it? Maybe you should go back to wherever you came from." Dylan laughed, and Maddie rolled her eyes but stayed. Bullies always loved an audience. Sienna stood, trying to walk away, but Travis blocked her path. The cafeteria grew quieter as people sensed something ugly brewing. Then, in one swift moment, Travis shoved her hard enough that she fell backward, right onto a table full of food. Plates crashed, juice splattered across her clothes, and gasps rippled through the room. For a few seconds, no one moved. Sienna lay there, humiliated, her clothes drenched in milk and spaghetti sauce. Her hands shook as she tried to sit up, the sting of embarrassment heavier than anything she'd felt in years. But before she could even stand, laughter exploded again. Phones came out. Some students started recording. Travis grinned, proud of his cruel victory. "Guess the new girl wanted to make a mess," he said. But then, something shifted. Sienna stopped trembling. Her hands, once shaky, became still. She looked up at him, and the entire cafeteria seemed to freeze. Her eyes, usually soft and fearful, burned with quiet intensity. It wasn't anger, it was control. She stood slowly, wiping her hands on her shirt. For the first time, her voice cut through the noise. "You should walk away, Travis." Her tone was calm, too calm. And that's what made everyone pause. Travis laughed, but there was a flicker of unease. "Or what?" he mocked. "You gonna draw me a scary picture?" But before he could finish the sentence, Sienna moved, and what happened next would be whispered about for years at Crestwood High. No one knew that Sienna wasn't just a quiet artist. Her late father had been a professional martial arts instructor, and she had trained under him for years, silently, diligently, and with precision. When she saw Travis lift a hand toward her again, she stepped aside, her movement almost invisible, fluid like water. His hand missed, and before he could regain balance, she swept his leg lightly, enough to make him stumble backward into a chair. The crowd gasped. Dylan jumped forward, but she sidestepped him effortlessly, sending his tray crashing instead. In seconds, both bullies were on the floor, not hurt, but stunned. There was no anger in her actions, no aggression, just calm control. Her movements were fast but graceful, her breathing even. She didn't strike to harm, she only moved to stop. But to the watching crowd, it looked like something out of a movie. The room that had been filled with laughter was now silent, every student frozen in disbelief. Maddie backed away, wide-eyed. What are you?" she stammered. Sienna picked up her soaked sketchbook, her voice quiet but firm, someone who's tired of being pushed around. Then she walked out of the cafeteria without looking back. For a moment, Travis and his gang just stared, their pride shattered. The once fearless bully looked lost, humiliated in front of his entire school. But the real story didn't end there. The next day, the video was everywhere. Someone had recorded the entire scene, from the moment Travis shoved Sienna to the moment she flipped the situation completely. Overnight, it spread through the school like wildfire. But instead of mocking her, people were defending her. Comments flooded online. She handled it with control. That girl's a legend. Finally, someone stood up to them. Travis stopped showing up for a few days. When he returned, he wasn't laughing anymore. His so-called friends had drifted away, embarrassed by his downfall. For the first time, he felt the sting of isolation, the same sting he had caused others to feel for years. And as for Sienna, she remained quiet. She didn't gloat, didn't post about it, didn't even bring it up. She just continued sitting in the same corner of the cafeteria, sketching like before. But something was different now. People began sitting near her, at first cautiously, then genuinely. A few kids even apologized for not stepping in earlier. Her table, once empty, began filling with conversation, laughter, and respect. The art teacher, Mrs. Graves, encouraged Sienna to join the school's art exhibit. She hesitated at first, but when she finally displayed her work, it stunned everyone. Her drawings weren't just beautiful, they told her story. One showed a young girl facing a storm, another showed hands lifting her up toward the sun.